Hey everybody, Brian here. So this video is more of a bit of a different video. It's more of a vlog style video. So I'm going to show you a trip that we did to the European production plant for Hyundai in the Czech Republic. So in the video I'm going to show you around how we got there and the factory itself, and also some of the cars I saw in the car park as well. The trip was organised by Hyundai Ireland. Hyundai Ireland are actually an independent Irish company and they import all the Hyundais into the country. So they did a really great job, you know, setting up the accommodation, getting us in and out from trains to planes, in and out of the factory, all that stuff. It was really, really well done. They really looked after as well. So, you know, that deserves credit. So early one Wednesday morning, we got up and went to the airport. So the flight was for about 7:10. So I got to the airport around 5:30. Through the usual, you don't need to see what an airport looks like. So we left Dublin and landed in Prague. The group that went on it was composed of 4 people from Hyundai Ireland, and then the remaining, I think it was 14 or 15 people, were all salespeople from different dealerships around the country. So once we got to Prague, we switched to a train, and that was going to bring us to a place called Ostrava. So it's about a 3-hour train ride from Prague to Ostrava in the Czech Republic. So we booked into a hotel called the Imperial Hotel. It was really nice and really, really clean. Ostrava is actually a really nice city. Very quiet though, definitely very quiet at night time, but really super clean. And during the day then we went for a walk around. We actually spent about 3 or 4 hours walking around one afternoon, and it's just a lovely city. So the next day then we took a bus, which was about maybe 40 minutes, something like that, out to this absolutely ridiculously sized building, which is basically the Czech production plant for Hyundai Europe. So when we walked in first, there's a nice lobby with two cars in it. One of them was a plug-in inline hybrid Tucson, and the other one was this electric Kona, and lots of awards on the wall, you know, for safety and production and all that kind of stuff. There's this absolutely cool looking screen when you walk in first, and actually some of the design philosophy, all these colours and the light kind of colours, they'll make their way into showrooms over the next couple of years in Ireland. I thought this was really nice. This one has the big wheels, which we don't get in Ireland yet, but it looks really, really cool. Anyway, they load you onto these little trains, and you have a little earpiece, and it talks away to you as you move around. Now, unfortunately, going forward from here, once we got into the little areas, I couldn't continue filming. But let's talk our way through it. I have some footage. They actually had some footage on site for us that they showed us, so I was able to get some of that. So the following images you'll see are from that, and that's actually what we saw. So the first area we go into is what they call a press shop. Press shop is basically where they get standard rolls of steel and they reshape them into structures that form the actual body and the chassis and all that kind of stuff of the vehicle. So the first thing I saw was just these rolls of steel when we went into the press shop, and then immediately we see the level of automation and robotics that's reshaping these pieces of steel, and eventually then you just see these racks of like bonnets and boots and doors and stuff like that, all itemized. It's like walking into IKEA. Like you can pick whatever you want almost. And what they say is they check every 20th piece of production just to make sure that the quality, like obviously they're super into quality control, so every 20th piece produced, they check it. One thing that really stands out is the length of the buildings. They are so long, so massive, but everyone's working at a kind of fairly solid pace. They're not under pressure, but they're not working slowly. Really, really solid pace, but it's super clean. Like, I mean, ridiculously clean. So they close the plant on like Saturdays and Sundays for maintenance and also for cleaning, and you can really see it is super spotless. The next part you go into then is the welding area. That's where they get all these metal panels that have been produced in the press shop, and they start welding all these sections together, and that's basically starting to take the initial shape of the car. And we saw this happening, and the smell actually that's in it as well. It's just it's a real clean, tidy, precise environment. After they leave here, the next stage they go to is the paint shop. Now, unfortunately, when it comes to paint shops, the amount of contaminants that can get into the air to affect paint, we weren't allowed near that. That is a super sterile area. So we had to bypass that. But in the paint shop, obviously, they dip and paint and treat the cars. So it's obviously painting for colour, but, you know, it's for reducing oxidization and anti-rust and all the treatments that would go onto a metal, and then a final inspection to make sure the paint job is perfect. So that area, unfortunately, we didn't get to see. And again, that's just for a high level of, I suppose, quality to ensure that there's no contaminants going through that process. From there then the vehicles move into final assembly even. So in final assembly, brakes, wheels, suspension, dashboards, seating, various specification, all getting fitted together. A car gets produced a whopping every 60 seconds. Every 1 minute a car is getting turned out. One thing that was interesting, they have a transmission construction area, but they're actually reducing the level of manual gearbox production there in favour of ramping up battery production facilities. So that just gives you an idea. The manufacturer reckons they could have up to 70% of EV production by 2030. So for anyone that's not sure about how popular EVs are going to be going forward, the manufacturers are very focused. The final section we didn't get to see, that's just where basically they check everything over and then the car moves onto a test run facility. So there's a lap. It looks like the straightforward cars do about half a lap of the test facility, but the end-derived cars, the high performance ones, they do a full lap because they have extra checking to do when it comes to high performance driving. It's a super amazing facility, employing over 3,200 people. So I think the average industrial wage in Czech Republic is about 17 or 1800 euros, but the average wage here is a little over 2,000. So people are getting good opportunities, and it looks like a nice working environment. They seem to focus on their employees to keep them happy. They even have an on-site health centre there and sports facilities and all that kind of stuff. So it is actually something that looks like a very, very nice place to work. And you can see that just because of how clean it is. Anyway, what I did film was I walked around the car park. So a couple of things I saw here. This is a Genesis G80. This is obviously a Santa Fe that we get in Ireland, but a couple of pointers here. The Genesis is very rare. That's a 2.5 all-wheel drive turbo petrol. And the Santa Fe's that I saw, they were hybrids, non-plug-in. Whereas we get plug-ins in Ireland, they get non-plug-in over there. These Tucsons, both of these, they were hybrids like we get in Ireland. And again, another Genesis G80. They're so cool looking. There's something kind of Aston Martin-y about it. Here's a very unusual vehicle. It's a Staria, which we get the commercial version in Ireland, but this is a passenger version. Look at the kind of copper effect on the front of the vehicle. So I thought that was really, really nice. And look at the number of LEDs that are in that headlight. Bet you they're really nice when they're turned on at night. There's lots of little copper accents on the door handles. Even if you look at things like these wing or the door mirrors here, I actually love that copper. It's really, really classy. If you walk around to the back of the car, I suppose it is a car because it's an MPV. It's either a 6 or 7 seater. I'm not sure. I think it's a 7 seater, but it's a 4-wheel drive. I'm assuming it's a 2.2 automatic 8-speed diesel version. Again, that's only my assumption, but it had a really nice leather interior and sunroof, and again the copper you'll see on the wheels. The i30s, a lot of i30 Tours, this caught my eye, an N-line fastback, okay, which we didn't get in Ireland. So N-line fastback with the nicer headlights that come in the front, nice interior, but when you look at the back of it, it's very like the high horsepower N version. I'm assuming this is the 1.5 turbo. I saw a lot of cars in the car park that were they were mild hybrids, which actually see that's a 4-wheel drive Tucson, very, very rare. But all these i30s, they all had 48 volt mild hybrid written on the side. I thought they were diesels, but on reflection, I think they're 1.5 petrols. So I think they get a 1.5 petrol, 160 horsepower version. So over here, this one again caught me eye. Like we have N-line in Ireland in i30, 1 litre petrol. But this one I think has the nicer dash clocks over there. They get the nicer 18-inch wheels, the nicer headlights as well, which we don't get in Ireland. It's a really, really nice looking car, and I'd say it's a 1.5. This is a Hyundai H1 van, but again, that's a passenger version. We didn't get that in Ireland. Moving up along through the other cars here, nice LED headlights on the previous generation Tucson. We never got that in Ireland. And this is a bit unusual. It's a newer version of Santa Fe, but it's not colour-coded when it comes to the cladding. It is a 4-wheel drive, but I have no idea if it was petrol or diesel. I'm going to make an assumption it's probably diesel, but I actually don't know that. And again, other cars then that we do get here in Tucsons and stuff like that. But it's just nice to see. They get a lot of these tours here. And even the production line, we saw a lot of tours which were finished up in Ireland a couple of years ago. But it's just nice to have a look around the car park and see the different levels of spec that they get in different countries. For somebody that's used to looking at the same products the whole time, it was nice to see the different varieties of cars. And I'd love to see what that 1.5 turbo petrol is like. So after that then we went back to Ostrava, and eventually we moved on as far as Krakow to fly home. So we got into the airport in Krakow. It's only about a 2-hour bus ride from Ostrava. One thing that happened, I walked up to, when I was leaving Dublin Airport, I was trying to get out through passport control. The automated machine didn't work. So I walked up to the manual counter, and a guy said to me, he said my name, Brian Doolan. I said, oh, here we go, we're in trouble. But actually just said, I watch your videos. And do you know what? I don't remember if I said thanks a million. So if I didn't and you're watching, I really appreciate that. Anyway, hopefully that gives you a better idea of some of the behind the scenes kind of stuff that goes on with car production. Hopefully the video was useful. Thanks for watching.